Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, to the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, the great GSMC Podcast Network. Go give it a check out if you haven't yet. You can get it on all of your podcast demands, iTunes, Apples, whatever. Lots of great content, including this show here today, the GSMC Football Podcast Show, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And you know who it is. I'm your boy Kayvon, the host of the show. And I love doing this show every single week because I love that you guys out there are watching. And we see it in the ratings, and we see it in the comments, and we appreciate it. And now it's the best time of the year because it's football season. And we've already had one game on Thursday, and boy, was that fun. It was sloppy, I'm not going to lie. But it was a fun game. It was great to have football back. It's great to have football on right now while I record this show here Saturday morning, around noon. And we've got lots of games going on in college football right now. And you know what? College football is interesting because I think that it's the one sport that is really affected by the no fans. You know, all sports are affected by not having fans, obviously, because, 70% of what sports is about the fans. And some people might even say more than that, and I think that's fair. Because the fans, they bring the emotions, you get the moments that you just can't write up. It's not like it's taped. It's not like it's planned out. Like the raw emotion of seeing someone in the fan's face after a heartbreaking loss or after a big time win. That's stuff that's the reason why I love sports. And college football is the biggest part of that. College football, it's all about the college athletes. It's all about rooting for your alma mater, for the school that you go to now, wearing the colors, the tailgating, the band, all that stuff. That is what college football is all about. That's the whole spirit and the whole reason why college football is such a big deal. It's an all-day thing on Saturday. If you go to Georgia, then your Saturdays for the rest of your life are going to be strictly about Georgia football. And that's how it is. If you go to Alabama, then every Saturday in Tuscaloosa, guess what? The city is open, but it's also closed at the same time. And if you've ever been there, you know exactly what I'm saying. I'm telling you that it's open, but it's closed because the only thing that's going on is football. That's it. And the whole town is running around doing things for football. And that's the best part about college football. So while I am not complaining because I am so thankful that we have football on right now. And I could sit here and I could watch this all day. But it definitely has a little bit of an eerie feeling to it, just because we're not used to seeing that with college football. And we're going to have to get used to it. When the NBA first started back up, it was weird, but now it's normal to me. Now it's completely normal to me. And that goes with the same for the NHL. And then last Thursday night, we had the Chiefs and the Texans, and that was interesting. What did you guys think about that? Because the Chiefs had some fans there. I think it was about 7,000 fans they had in the stadium, and they were social distanced to the best of the way that they could, and they had the mask on and all that stuff, and that was great, right? But I'll tell you what, that sounded way louder than 7,000 fans. I want to know if they were pumping in noise. And, Al Michaels said on NBC that the NBC was not pumping in noise because that was a big thought, that maybe the networks would pump the noise in for the fans at home so it would sound louder on your TV. But Al Michaels said that they weren't, and, could Al Michaels be lying? Yeah, but I'm not going to, I doubt it. Like, I feel like he would say that. But the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs maybe might have been pumping in loud crowd noise, because that sounded way louder than just the 7,000 people that were there. But maybe it's the way the stadium was built, because that has an effect to it. That's why Seattle Stadium is so loud, other than they have great fans, but also their stadium is built in a way where it just the sound noise is just, it's all over the place. But I thought that was very interesting. I want to get y'all's thoughts on it. And it was different because this is the thing. The Chiefs and I want to say the Cowboys are the only two teams that are actually having fans in their arena, which is awesome. I'm happy that we have some teams doing it. I'm shocked that the NFL didn't decide to make it either everyone's having it or nobody's having it. I was completely wrong on that, but I'm happy that we get some, but only two teams are having it. We saw it on Thursday with the Chiefs, and then we'll see it with the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are playing away on Sunday, so they're playing up in that new SoFi Arena, which, by the way, I heard is beautiful. I heard that when you're flying into LA, you'll go over that arena, depending on where you're coming from, of course, and you can look in it. The arena, the roof is see-through. And it's like projected. You can like project on it, so you'll go over it, and sometimes you'll see you'll see a game going on, or you'll see the logo being projected on it. Like it's really, really cool. I've heard it's the best stadium out there. You can't, it beats the Cowboys stadium by miles and miles, and I'm sure Jerry Jones really likes that. Joking, obviously, but I can't wait to watch Sunday Night Football, and I wish so bad. There's two stadiums where I would love to see fans in this year, right off the bat. And you know what? And I mean like full fans. Like I don't know, just the whole half, not even half, like 7,000 in a stadium. It's cool. It's better than nothing. And again, I'm not complaining, but with SoFi Stadium in LA and then that stadium in Vegas, I want to see it packed. To be honest with you, this is just me, and it might sound selfish. I don't want to see any fans in that stadium until I can see it fully packed, and I don't want that to happen until it's for sure safe. But I want to see those two stadiums straight packed to the brim, because those are two beautiful stadiums in great cities, Las Vegas, LA, and man, that would be cool to watch. That would be cool to watch. So sad that we're missing out on stuff like that, of course. But like I was saying before I got off on a tantrum there, two out of the 32 teams are having fans off the bat. The rest are doing no fans, and then they're going to reconsider as the season goes on. Like the Falcons, they said their first two games are going to be no fans, their first two home games no fans, and then they'll reconsider and look at it from there. Some places like New York, so the Jets, the Giants, Buffalo, they're probably not going to have fans all season. California, probably not going to have fans all season. It'll be other places that slowly start to go, and we'll see how that is. But hey, what's y'all's thoughts on it? Well, let's watch out, because that's something I'm going to really be watching for as we go. Like really watching for. How does this affect what is going on the field? How does this affect the players? Guys, these players have been playing in front of sold-out crowds since they were in college. Maybe some that went to big high schools have been doing it since they were in high school. Okay, so this is going to be big-time difference. And then in the NFL aspect of it, this can be an advantage. If the defense can hear what the offense is saying, or vice versa, that could become a problem. So these are all things to watch, and these are some of the storylines that or one of the storylines that I'll be fully paying attention to tomorrow as we get ahead going with week 1. So what we're going to do today is a bunch of stuff. And before, we're going to talk about that Thursday night game, which I cannot wait to, break down about that. It was a bit of a disappointing game. It was a boring game, sloppy game. But hey, if you guys think that we're going to come out and see great football right away, you have something else coming for you. It's going to be sloppy. There's no preseason. There was barely enough practice time of really hitting. It's going to be sloppy, all right? So just take it for what it is and be grateful that we have games. As the season goes, it will get better because these are professional athletes. Look, it gets sloppy even on a normal season. The first couple weeks is always sloppy in the NFL. You're playing a contact sport where you don't go full speed at each other all summer until week 1. Come on. It's going to be hard. It's going to be sloppy. We just have to hope for no injuries and, no one getting the virus. That's all we need to worry about. Everything else is just gravy and amazing from here on out. All right? We got a lot of things going on today. I mean, a lot. And this is going to be a really cool show because what we do today is really going to kind of be a first look, I'll say, at what we'll do pretty much every Saturday show. I mean, obviously there's going to be different things that come up as different storylines come up, but the certain topics and the certain segments we do are going to be similar because what we're going to do is we're going to break down the Thursday night game. Then we're going to do a segment that I like to call Hold My Beer. And what that is how, there's certain times in sports or in football games where you really want to watch this. Like, you got to be standing up. You got to be ready to go and watch this. And it's kind of like that, hey, put my beer down. Like, hold my beer. I got to get into this. I got to see what's about to happen. So I'm going to give you guys some of the biggest hold my beer moments coming up on Sunday that you guys need to make sure you put your beers down, you hand your beers over to your girlfriends or your boyfriends or your parents or your siblings, whoever, and you stand up and you watch. You watch because it's going to be worth watching. It's going to be something amazing, It's going to be a good matchup or a good play. So I'm going to give you guys some of those moments to focus on this Sunday. And we're going to always do that on Sunday as we move forward. The Hold My Beer segment, all right? Or if you don't like beer, hold my rosé or my wine or my, whiskey, whatever it is. Hold it, put it down, because we gotta watch. We gotta pay attention to what's about to happen here. I'm gonna give you guys my best bets every week. I am going to pick out a couple of bets that I think are gonna hit. Look, gambling has become a huge part of the NFL, a massive part of the NFL, and it is slowly starting to incorporate in a lot of states. Actually, rapidly, not slowly. A lot of states are starting to let gambling become legal, and it's something to pay attention to. And look, I'm not telling you to go out there and gamble. No, not at all. But it's interesting to pay attention to spreads and how the spreads work and why Vegas picks this and why a team is favored and why a team is not favored. So every week, I'm going to give you guys my best bets, my bets that I love. And if you want to go put a couple dollars on it, have some fun, do it. Obviously, do it. Be smart about it. Don't go spend your whole dang paycheck and put yourself in a situation. I am not a professional gambler. I just do this for fun. So it's just something to do. I write articles for this website every week for gambling. So I have the experience, and it's just something I love to do. So more than welcome to pay attention to that. And it really does make the games a little bit more entertaining to just understand why a team is favored and why a team's not favored. After that, we are going to look at the best matchups, the best games for week 1, my favorite games, the games that you guys want to definitely watch. And we're going to give you guys some of the best fantasy players out there, some of the best fantasy players to start. If you're doing a DraftKings lineup or if you're doing a season-long fantasy, definitely look into that. And then to end the show, I am going to give you guys teams that need to start off hot. I'm talking a win right off the bat. Week 1 or week 2, you can't go 0-1 or 0-2. You can't. So teams that need to start off hot right off the bat this Sunday, you cannot afford to start slow. I'm going to give you guys those teams as well. But let's get into this first. This Thursday night game. First of all, before I get into the game, can someone please explain to me why the heck did Andy Reid not have a towel or a squeegee thing or something? I mean, can someone in the Chiefs organization get that man a towel? Did you guys see the shield that he had over his face? And that was great. I mean, rightfully so. This virus is nothing to joke about. He felt most comfortable with the shield. That's great, but could you see his face after the second quarter? That thing was so fogged up from his breath. I mean, I hope he didn't eat something bad, because that thing, I could not even see his face. I don't know how they were showing him looking down at the play chart, but you couldn't see anything. I don't know how he was looking at the plays. Maybe that's just because the offense was so good, he was just blindly saying words, and it worked. But, I mean, you got Kansas City. You guys just won the Super Bowl. I mean, I know you just locked up Mahomes on a $500 million deal, but you still have some money there. Like, get that man a squeegee. Get that man a towel. Or you know what? You know what you guys should do? You know how in college football we see those coaches that are, like, hired, and usually they're, like, the strength and conditioning coach, or they're just some ripped dude, but they're hired to stand behind the head coach so that when he starts freaking out, or when he starts going above, like, past the line, the out-of-bounds line, they'll pull him back so he doesn't run into the ref. They need to hire someone for Andy Reid to wipe down that shield whenever it starts to get foggy. Because that thing is that was bad. I don't know how he was seeing. I mean, I really don't. But that caught my eye right away, and I just was thinking that man needs to get a squeegee towel or something to wipe that off during the game, and just toss it over his shoulder, or get him one of those big guys that will just, every time it starts to fog up, just kind of give him a little wipe down, and he'll be good to go. But that's something that caught my eye. And you know what? Maybe I was paying too much attention to that because the Kansas City Chiefs were just putting it on the Houston Texans. I mean, let's be real here. Watching that game on Thursday was amazing, right? It was just great. It was an ugly game, but it was great to see football back. But the Chiefs look special. The Chiefs look special. And we were going to get into the game and all that, but on the opposite side, the Texans' offense was bad. It was terrible. And Hopkins was watching. I don't know if you guys saw this, but DeAndre Hopkins threw some shade. He tweeted during the game, "Grateful." That's it. One word, grateful. And that is such a slap in the face to that organization, the Texans organization, and those players. Like, come on. But I will say, the player they got back for Hopkins, David Johnson, he looked good. He looked really good. And I hope he stays healthy, because he looked like David Johnson of the old. But speaking of running backs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's right. Woo! I am so glad I picked you in fantasy, man. I am so glad. That was something special. What he put on as a rookie in his game one, man, that was special. And I knew that Helaire, wherever he went, he was going to be good, because he was a perfect NFL-style running back. But I don't think he could have gone anywhere else where he would have been able to be this good. This is the worst possible place he could have gone for the entire league, the rest of the league. This is scary. He fits this offense perfect. And the fact that they got him with all the way with the last pick of the first round, that we all, as other teams, fans of other teams, let him fall down that far, that's annoying. That's very annoying, because he is really, really good. And the Chiefs getting him is the worst thing that could have happened for the rest of the league. Because you know why? The Kansas City Chiefs are officially balanced now. And listen, most of you are probably saying, what? They just won the Super Bowl. They're the best offense in the league. And yes, they are. And they have been. But they were never balanced. They were extremely dangerous in the pass game. But they didn't have much of a run threat. All last season, there was no run threat until they got to the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl, Damian Williams popped off, and they showed what they can do in the run. But that was an anomaly for really all the season that they had. But now with Hilaire as their running back one, it's dangerous. That team they look unstoppable. They really, really look unstoppable. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break because we went into that intro a little bit long. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I will go more into this. I want to read you guys a stat about Hilaire that might set up things to come here. I want to talk about the Texans because I might have missed on the Texans. Look, the last couple of shows I came in here, patted myself on the back for some things that I got right. I got to be honest. I might have got this one wrong with Houston. Now, it's game one. I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to freak out. But I saw some things that definitely has me worried, not just for my prediction, but for Deshaun Watson and his health. I mean, we'll get into that, okay? We will get into all this. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to look into more of this game. We're going to go into the Hold My Beer segment. I'm going to give you guys some matchups that you want to sit down and watch, that you want to hand over the beer and get your hands ready to cheer, throw them up in the air, and then we'll go from there, all right? So this is the GSMC Football Podcast. I'm your boy, Kayvon Izami. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Bryson Ethan here to tell you about our favorite sports book, and that's BetUS. Football, basketball, and baseball are all back, and that means it's time to get down your bets. We only endorse one sports book, and that is BetUS.com. Why, you ask? BetUS is the pioneer in online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. You need a sports book with integrity and longevity, and you need to know that you're going to get paid.
That's right, Bryce. You need a sports book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, entertainment, and all kinds of crazy prop bets and futures. So call today at 1-800-MyBetUS. That's 1-800-MyBetUS, and they will walk you through getting started. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses or bigger bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention GSMC, and you get up to 150% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. We bet at BetUS, and so should you. So join BetUS today. That's BetUS.com or call 1-800-MyBetUS, mention GSMC, and get 150% in bonuses on your first deposit.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back. This is the GSMC Football Podcast. I am your host, Kayvon Izami. Hope everyone had a great week. Now we are entering the weekend, and it is time to put your feet up, grab a drink, and relax because it is football and football only all weekend long. Enjoy it, and enjoy the historic week of football. The historic week of sports, and this is why. On Thursday was the first time ever we had an NBA playoff game and an NFL regular season football game. How crazy is that? Because of this pandemic, obviously we know the NBA season, the NHL season had to be put on pause, and then they restarted it. So we officially have NBA and NHL playoffs going on while NFL is going on. You know, we've had the NBA and NHL season usually starts up around October. So we have NBA games and NHL games during the NFL season, but we've never had an NBA playoff game during a regular season NFL, which is really cool. And that's awesome. We've got a lot going on, and I have someone that watches it all. It's not overwhelming at all. It's amazing. I love it. I love it so much. There's just everything on all the time, and it's great. It's funny, me and my girlfriend like to watch, shows, and we'll always start a show, and I'll watch a couple, and then I'll be like, oh, no, we can't really watch any more sports are on, and then that's it. And I just never even finish the show, and it's bad, I know, but can't help myself. So got a great weekend coming up with sports. I'm watching college football. Got the Notre Dame Duke game on right now. Notre Dame just ran it in for a touchdown, up 17-6. Notre Dame was favored by 22 in that game, I want to say. So we'll see if they can step it up there in the about 7-minute mark left in the third quarter, which is exciting. And then tomorrow we've got week 1 of the NFL, right? And by the way, for college football, the ACC and the Big 12 started today, and then the SEC starts next week. So that will be interesting to see how we go. College football is definitely a lot different than NFL. I think there's a lot of questions surrounding. There's a lot of questions surrounding both, but NFL definitely, to me, seems more. It just seems more under control. The players seem like they know what they're doing. It seems like they understand that this is up to them to make sure that they are, behaving properly, not going out, not putting themselves or others at risk, and making sure that's the best way to stay healthy. And college football, I think the players are trying to do that as well, but it's harder when you're a student and if there's other kids on campus and all that stuff. So we'll see. It's exciting that we have 1 week here. We've had a couple weeks of it, and we'll see how long it can go. But back to the NFL here. That Thursday night game we had recently, a couple days ago, the Kansas City Chiefs come out and really just put a mollywhopping on the Houston Texans. Opening night, they dropped the banners, and there were some fans in the stands. It was a great night. It was a really, really good night. Houston kind of turned it on late, but we'll get into them because there was a lot of stuff that I saw that was just not good. I did not like it. I did not like what I was seeing out of Houston. But out of Kansas City, I saw something special. I saw a team that looks unstoppable. And, a Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a rookie just took over the show, right? He goes and gets 25 carries for 138 yards and a touchdown, average about 5.5 yards a carry. He looks special. And the crazy thing is he didn't even catch a ball, which is so surprising because he's such a good cat. He has such good hands. Like, he's a really good catcher as a running back out of the backfield there. So I was kind of surprised that they didn't use him more in that realm of possibility, but maybe that's something they're going to bring up as they go, and we'll see there. But he put on like a really historic stat line, 25 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown. He became just the 4th rookie in the last 30 years to rush for 130 yards or more and a touchdown in his NFL debut. Listen to this. The other 3 to do that: Kareem Hunt, who also did it with the Chiefs a couple of years ago back in 2017, Cadillac Williams, who did it with Tampa Bay back in 2005. Everyone remembers Cadillac Williams, right? And then Marshall Faulk, who did it with Indianapolis back in 1994. You know what's crazy about all 3 of those? All 3 of those players have in common one thing. They all went on to win either the Offensive Rookie of the Year or the rushing title in their first year in the NFL. How crazy is that? And now Clyde Edwards-Helaire does it too. And if he keeps that up, he's going to be in line to win Offensive Rookie of the Year or a rushing title as well. Because that was a great, great performance and a big night for the rookie running back out of LSU. So it brings up the question, right? Can anybody stop the Chiefs? Can anybody stop the Chiefs? In my mind, the only people, we should say, that can stop the Chiefs are the Chiefs themselves. Because what I watched the other night, it was beautiful watching. That game on Thursday, what we saw Mahomes do, we already knew that, right? We already knew how great Mahomes was. We've seen him do that, and that wasn't he went for 24 out of 32 passes, completed 24 out of 32 passes, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's 1 sack. That's not even that spectacular of a night for him. Not at all. But we knew how great this team's offense was, and they continue to get better having Mahomes behind under center. And that O-line stood up, only allowing 1 sack. That's the big part of that. And Mahomes just spread the ball around all night, hitting Watkins, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, whoever he wanted, he got. And when you think about the Chiefs' offense and how prolific they are and how they can't be stopped, remember, there was a period in time where in their last 3 quarters or so against the Texans, they have outscored them boys like 81-14. And that's a good Texans team. So I just don't understand how you can watch that same game that I watched on Thursday and see that bad man Patrick Mahomes, who should have had more touchdown passes actually, if we're being honest, if his receivers didn't drop a couple of the balls. There's no team in the NFL that's built to stop the Chiefs. Because you have several receivers. You have a tight end. You have that bad man Mahomes. And then now you have a running back that can do that? How can you stop this? And then there's the defense. And this is what really surprised me. Their defense was great. Their defense looked really good last night against a good Deshaun Watson. And now I've been hearing a lot of this, though. Oh, 16-0 talk, 16-0 talk. Just stop. I'm not going there, okay? This is the NFL. It is really hard to go 16-0. There's a reason why only 2 teams in the history of the NFL have gone 16-0. I mean, it is really, really hard. So I'm not going that far because I'm not going to, I'm not going to water down the rest of the teams like that, for a lack of a better word, and be disrespectful. Because there's a lot of other good teams out there, but I will say this. I don't know how the Chiefs don't score at least 30 points every single game. I really don't know how they don't score at least 30 points every single game. I think the only way to beat the Chiefs is by outscoring them. And you have to score 30 or more points to do that. I'm not kidding. I said during the offseason that maybe you could get physical with them and stop them the way San Francisco did for the first 3 quarters. But I don't think so this season. If they stay healthy, I think the only way to beat them is by going punch for punch with them on offense. And the reason why, and also with the 16-0 thing, the Chiefs are here to win the Super Bowl. Now that they've got it done, they're here to win the Super Bowl. That's their goal, right? So I could see them kind of slacking off a couple games and not take it, kind of like LeBron would do in the once he got a couple rings under his belt. And I know the Chiefs only have 1 right now, but LeBron would always, okay, the regular season's not as important. I'm gonna turn it up during the postseason. So I could see the Chiefs, kind of, they're coach great, so I don't know if Andy Reid will allow that, but 16-0 is a lot. This is a really good team, and I think you're going to have to put up 30 or more to beat them. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Now, when it comes to the team they were playing, the Houston Texans. Look, I came on here last 2 episodes, and I gave myself a pat on the back. I did, and I have to be fair and admit it. I'm worried about my Houston pick to win the AFC South. They looked awful Thursday night. They looked awful. And I could come on here and I could chalk this up in some regards to the Houston Texans not having any preseason and having some deficiencies on their offensive line and Deshaun Watson having to scramble for his life, which, by the way, the Texans need to be really, really careful because Deshaun Watson is running for his life every single time he snaps that ball. Every single time. They need to start protecting him or they might have an Andrew Luck situation on their hands. I'm not even kidding. Andrew Luck got beat up over and over and over his first couple years in the league because the Colts did not build an offensive line around him. And he got beat up to the point where he retired early. Okay? You do not want that to happen. I mean, he's the first couple years, he's already been getting beat up like crazy. And I thought things were going to change this year, but this was terrible. And you know what? Look, like I said, it's the first game. There's no preseason game. They really weren't able to do like hitting in practice. And I can't emphasize this enough. Those people, those big boys down in the trenches, they need to hit people. You can't emulate real game speed in practice. Like, you just can't do that. So I can't emphasize enough how important it is to really get out there and start hitting, and how no preseason affects that. So look, it could be a first game thing, but they're hurting. They did not look good at all. And if it wasn't for, Watson doing his thing towards the end of the game, this score would have looked way worse. I mean, Watson pretty much nearly has to be a damn magician every time he steps on the field to even get a playoff. And look, I know it's only the first game, as I said. And maybe the offensive line gets better after having that contact, but they better figure out something quick. And then I thought with the receivers, I thought that the receivers would step up. I thought that they would be better. And they didn't at all. They did nothing to help Watson out there. They made me look like a fool, and they made Bill O'Brien look like a fool for making that trade, which he should look like a fool. I mean, Fuller showed up. He had about 8 catches for 112 yards, so that's legit, but he even dropped a big pass. He dropped one of those passes that probably could have gone for a touchdown. So, and on Thursday, the Texans had 3 recorded drops, but I would argue I counted about 4. And listen to this. DeAndre Hopkins had 6 total drops in his last 2 years. So, in one game, this receiving core has already had more than half the amount of drops that Hopkins had in the last 2 years. That's not good. That is not good. And 2 of those drops easily killed 2 drives for that team, where they could have kept going and maybe got some points on the board. I'm worried about the Texans. I really am. There's no doubt about that. I love Watson, and I think he's one of the best QBs in the league, but this isn't the NBA. You can't win games with just one player performing well. It takes the whole team. It takes the whole team, and the Texans have a brutal start to their schedule. I mean, brutal. Listen to this. They just went to the Chiefs and lost, right? Now they're at home to the Ravens, week 2. To the Ravens at home. That's a tough game. Then they go at the Steelers. I mean, that is a really good defense in the Steelers, and we'll look and see how that offense is. But by week 3, I bet that offense is pretty good. Then they're home to the Vikings. Then they're home to the Jaguars. Then they go at the Titans, and then they're home to the Packers. I mean, the only game in there that is a definite win is the Jaguars. Other than that, they could lose every single game. Those first 4 games, Chiefs, Ravens, Steelers, Vikings, I mean, it's going to be very hard to even go 2-2 and split those 4 games. That's going to be tough. And they got to get things together, and Bill O'Brien's got to get things together. I'm not saying he's on the hot seat or anything like that, because clearly he has a lot of power, and who's going to fire him? He's the GM, so he'd have to fire himself pretty much. But they have to get some things going, because I told you guys last show that I like them to win the AFC South because of Watson. And I like them to be the 3rd seed in the AFC because I believe in Watson that much. But if he doesn't have some help, and if he can't get some protection, and if those receivers can't come up and make some plays, then that's a problem. And Tennessee's getting better. They just signed Jadeveon Clowney, and Clowney fits that defense perfect. I told you guys, when it was between the Saints and the Titans, I said, if Clowney wants to have his best year, he needs to go play for Mike Vrabel and the Titans, because he knows that system. He played under Vrabel. Vrabel was a coach in Houston when he was there and drafted by the Texans. That makes Tennessee scary. It doesn't matter that he just joined. He already knows the system. He doesn't need time to get going. Familiar with the language and the system. Now, he already knows that stuff. And I think Tennessee is going to come out really hot Monday night and play really well and beat the Broncos up in Denver. I think that they will. I think the Broncos losing Von Miller, and we'll get into this, I think that hurts a young team like the Broncos a lot. What I tell you guys is going to be the key to having success this year, right? It's going to be organizational and coaching leadership. Mike Vrabel, if any coach does, he comes from Bill Belichick, and he has that. He is going to make sure that his team follows their responsibilities and that his team is accountable for their actions. And that's why they'll come out hot on Monday night and they'll win that game. And Indianapolis, they've got the best offensive line in the league right there with Dallas. And they've got a lot of weapons. It's going to be up to Phillip Rivers, but, they got Jacksonville week 1. So that's 1-0 for them. That's 1-0 for Tennessee in my mind, and then that's 0-1 for Houston. So Houston has to be very careful falling behind early in this division, all right? I loved what I saw out of David Johnson. I liked what I saw out of Deshaun Watson towards the end of the night, but in the beginning, there wasn't anything going on because he didn't have any dang time. The play calling was bad. Bill O'Brien, he's got to get his stuff together. He's got to get his stuff together. I did not like what I saw at all from the Houston Texans. At all. But the Chiefs are scary, guys. The Chiefs are really, really scary. Clyde Edwards-Helaire put on a show. And this is the crazy part, I was watching the game with my brother-in-law. We do fantasy together, and he has Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce all on his fantasy team, right? And I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So, we were both cheering for the Chiefs pretty much because we wanted to get fantasy points, but he was wanting them to pass, and I was like, no, run the ball. But it was funny, every time they passed it, he was hoping it was Hill and Kelce, and they did good. Kelce had 6 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown, while Hill had 5 catches, 46 yards, and a touchdown. So they did good, but every time it was oh no, that's Sammy Watkins. Oh wait, no, that's Demarcus Robinson. Oh, there's Darrell Williams. There's Mecole Hardman. He was passing to everyone. There's so many weapons out there. And then it's nope, now let's hand it off to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Oh, let's bring in Darrell Williams and hand it off to him. And then you got Andy Reid calling the plays, who's just special on calling those plays. And I do think that Steve Spagnuolo, their defensive coordinator, has done a great job with them. Since the second half of last year, since the second half of last season, they have really been a really good defense. They've gotten their stuff together, and they've been good. 17-7 at halftime. Going into the fourth quarter, it was 24-7. So they held a really pretty good offense, Houston Texans offense, to 7 points going into that fourth quarter. Now, again, a lot of that had to do with the play calling and the atrocious offensive line. But the Chiefs are scary. The Chiefs are very scary, and something to watch about Chiefs coming out of the gate. They have at the Chargers next week, which is a division game, and that's always tough, but I think they'll win that. And then they go to Baltimore, Week 3, Monday Night Football. To Baltimore, Week 3, Monday Night Football. That is going to be awesome, right? That is going to be really, really fun to watch. Now, if they do beat Baltimore, okay, this is when things can start being interesting with that 16-0 talk, all right? If they beat the Chargers, which I think they will, that puts them 2-0. If they beat Baltimore, that puts them 3-0. Then they're home to the Patriots, and while I like the Patriots this year, since they're at home to the Patriots, I think they win that game. So that puts them 4-0, with the next games being versus the Raiders, at the Bills, at the Broncos, versus the Jets, versus the Panthers, at the Raiders. Okay? If they squeak by the Ravens, and they're 3-0, then I think that would be 4, 5, 6. Then I think that they would go 10-0 before they go to Tampa Bay on November 29th. All right, look, I'm not calling for them to go 6-0. Like I said, it is really hard to do that in the NFL. But if they go to Baltimore and win on that Monday Night Football game, which is going to be really hard, then I think that they will win their next, 7 games to go 10-0 before they go into Tampa on that November 29th game, which when I think they would get their first loss. But that's a storyline to watch. That is a storyline to watch. This is the GSMC Football Podcast. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is time to dive into the Hold My Beer segment. Which moments do you need to have your eyes on tomorrow? Which moments do you need to make sure that you put your beer down or hand your beer over to your significant other and say, hold this because I got to stand up, I got to get ready to cheer because this is intense. Stay tuned. We'll go through it right after this.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back. This is the GSMC Football Podcast. I am your host, Kayvon Izami. Hope everyone's having a beautiful weekend. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday watching some college football. And I hope everyone is pumped up and excited for the NFL slate of games we have tomorrow. And boy, do we have some really good games. And we're going to get into them in just a little bit. We've got the Seattle Seahawks coming all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast to take on my Atlanta Falcons. We've got the divisional matchups, the New York Jets against the Buffalo Bills up in Buffalo. That's going to be a good one. The Chicago Bears against Detroit. Green Bay against Minnesota. Miami against New England. You don't see this many divisional matchups right off the bat. Arizona against San Francisco, which, by the way, not to bring a downer on some of this, but first of all, this is a serious thing. So everyone out in California, I know our GSMC studios are out in California. So everyone that's out in California right now that is going through, or even just know people that are going through or are near these fires, our hearts and prayers are out there for you guys because this is scary. I mean, I have friends out there and they've been sending me pictures, and it looks apocalyptic. I mean, it really looks apocalyptic. I mean, it's scary. The pictures are crazy. It's like the sun is exploding, and it's like there's just fire everywhere. I mean, it is some of the craziest pictures and stuff that I've seen on the news. And I can't even imagine going through what you're going through. So all of you out there that are in that situation, near that situation, know people that are in that situation, our hearts and prayers go out to you guys because, with COVID and it feels like the half of California just burning down. It's just, there's so much going on and it's tough. It's a tough 2020. But let's not give up. Let's keep fighting. Let's get through it. And definitely our prayers go out there for all of you out there. So please be safe. Evacuate if you can. I've never really lived in California, so I don't know how all that works. but just we're praying for you. We're praying for you for sure. And speaking of the game, because the Cardinals are taking on the San Francisco 49ers, which is a great Week 1 divisional matchup. But that game's in San Francisco. It's not in Arizona. So, and as of right now, the game is good to go on, but Kyle Shanahan said on Friday that if the air quality gets to the 200s, I think, or above 200s, then that's when they have to call it. And he said right now the air quality is it's okay, like they're okay to play right now, which I'm not saying that he's lying, but I find that hard to believe. I mean, just by looking at some of the pictures and what's happening out there, I find it very hard to believe that the air quality is safe enough for these players to play. And this is my thing. Why don't they just flip it? Because they're playing a division team in Arizona. So we all know you play your teams in your division twice, right? Once at home and once away. Why don't they just play this game in Arizona and then they flip it, because then they play the 49ers play at home against Arizona this week. And then the second to last game of the season, December 27th, they play in Arizona. Why don't they just flip these two? Play in Arizona Week 1 and in San Francisco December 27th. Because if any year is the year to be able to do that with your schedule, it's this year. Because usually these schedules are made with the understanding of concerts and venues being booked out and all that stuff, right? This year there's nothing going on. So I guarantee you that Cardinals Stadium is open. And they could easily, this is the perfect year to just be able to do that. And why not? It's safe. There's no home field advantage, right? The Cardinals aren't going to have fans, and neither are the 49ers. So there literally is no change. I would flip it if I were them. I would flip it to be safe. It's better to be safe than sorry. And to me, I get it. They're saying that the air quality is not bad and it's okay to play. I just think it would be smart enough to why worry about that when you can have an easy solution, go one state over in Arizona and just play there. That's it. It's not like you have to go cross country. You're just going right down to Arizona. And you flip it. And you play Arizona at home later on. So that's what I would do, but we'll see what happens with that. We'll keep an eye on that and see if that game, goes on. And I think the Rams game is as well, but I don't think the Rams are in as bad as a situation as the 49ers from what I've been reading. So that's one thing, and, we'll see what happens from there. I hope everyone's having a great weekend watching some college football right now. Notre Dame up 24-13. Looks like they're about to kick a field goal because they couldn't freaking convert a third down. Oh, Notre Dame's making me mad. I picked them to win this game. They need to step it up, and they are winning, but they need to step it up and win by more because the spread was 22. So we'll see what happens there. Now, I want to bring up something else here before we get into the Hold My Beer segment. We're all about football on this show. We're all about having fun right now because football's starting. But I do want to get into a serious segment here for just a quick second. I want to talk about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott recently came out. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he recently came out on a podcast that he did, or on a show called In Depth with Graham Benzinger. It's a show that I think airs on TV. And it was a video interview where Dak Prescott sat down with Graham Benzinger, and he told Graham that he was going through depression and anxiety when he was going through this pandemic earlier in the offseason, earlier in the summertime when COVID-19 really just got underway. So he came out and said that to Graham Benzinger, as I said, and this is the thing, he said he was really, he had anxiety, he had depression, and for those that haven't heard this or maybe just need to be refreshed, Dak's brother died. Dak's brother, Jace Prescott, who he was very close with, as everyone says and reports say, he died, and he was going through those type of things as well. The depression, anxiety, serious stuff. That people all over the world deal with all the time. And in this pandemic, I'm sure so many people were in that same boat. But he came out and talked about it. And I really, really respect Dak Prescott for doing that. On this show here, I've been hard on Dak Prescott. There's no doubt about that. I've definitely been hard on him. I've talked about, him wanting more money than I think he deserves and stuff like that. But let me be very clear. I'm talking about Dak Prescott, the player. This has nothing to do with Dak Prescott, the person. I respect Dak Prescott, and I respect Dak Prescott, the player. He's good enough to play in the NBA, in the NFL, excuse me. He's a really good quarterback. It's just my job to say my opinion on where he is, in my opinion, of his play. But I want to be very clear here. Because of Dak coming out and talking about this, I will be rooting for Dak going forward. And it's not like I was ever rooting against him and for him to do bad. No, not at all. I never would do that to anyone. But I was just critical on Dak's play. And I still will be critical on Dak's play. This is a job. We criticize and we applaud based on how they perform on the field. But I'm just talking about Dak Prescott, the person here. I will be cheering for Dak Prescott, the person, moving forward, because of him opening up on this is so hard to do in his limelight, in his spotlight. And no matter what cowards like Skip Bayless say, just weak people like Skip Bayless, who, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he came out and said that he doesn't think Dak should have come out and said this stuff, and he thinks it makes him look weak, and in a sport with the NFL, players are going to take advantage of it and stuff like that, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's like the dumbest thing you could ever say. And Skip did come out and say he was more just talking about something else, like with COVID. He wasn't talking about the actual mental illness and all that. You can look all that stuff up, but my thing is this. Dak came out, Dak was asked why he opened up on depression and his brother's suicide. And you know what Dak said? He said, being a leader is about being genuine. And if I can come out and I can say stuff like this, hopefully it can help other people to come out and speak about their feelings. And that's the hardest part, is to admit that you have depression, admit that you have anxiety. That's the hardest part. After you say that, you can then get help, but sometimes people don't want to say it because they don't want people to think that they're weak, or they don't want to be made fun of. And especially in a sport like football, where everyone looks at it as macho men, and they people that can just, they break their bones, they hit people, they're not weak, But really, they are humans just like you and I. And people look at them because they're rich and because they're football players. They look at them like, they're fine. We shouldn't have sympathy for them. And that is wrong. He is a human being just like you and just like me. And for him to come out and say that and admit that to me makes him even more tough. That to me makes him, that to me, his players should admire him for that. That makes him a better leader in my eyes. That shows how tough he really is. And I respect that 100%. And I applaud Dak Prescott. I'm glad that he went and got help. And I hope he's okay from here on out. But there's a lot of respect there. And I promise you, him doing that helped at least one kid. probably so many more, and not just kids, anybody, maybe an adult that's going through this, because they see their idol, they see a professional football player that looks untouchable because he's rich and he plays for the Cowboys and he's a football player, but really they have feelings just like us, and they have issues that they have to go through just like us. And it's tough. And I respect Dak for coming out and talking like that. So, it's tough to transition from that into football, but that's what we're going to do because it's a football show here. But really, all applauds to Dak Prescott for being able to be brave enough and come out and talk about that. You truly are a very brave person for doing that, Dak. Well done. All right, so let's move on here. We're going to do the Hold My Beer segment, but we're going to push that off to the start of the fourth segment here because I do want to dive into something here with the breaking news that we have, and it looks like a couple of running backs just got paid. So all of you that were worried about your running backs for fantasy or your running backs for your team, well, a couple of them just got paid. Also, we've got a wide receiver in Cooper Kupp that just got paid as well. It looks like Cooper Kupp just signed a 3-year contract with the Rams. That money has not come out yet on exactly how much that money is. So we'll keep looking at that and see what it is. But two running backs got paid here. We'll start with Dalvin Cook first. Dalvin Cook agrees to a 5-year, $63 million deal, Adam Schefter is reporting. And that's a big deal here. So that's interesting. 5 years, $63 million deal. That's about 12.5, I would say $12.5 million a year. If I'm doing my math right here. So that's pretty cool. First of all, that's a good deal for him, and that's a good deal for the Vikings. This is crazy. The Dalvin Cook might have been able to get more than that in the open market because that puts him about 6th in the average annual money per year for a running back. Puts them behind McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, Kamara, who we're about to talk about, Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, and then Dalvin Cook. And he's right in that Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon range. So Joe Mixon makes about $12 million a year, Derrick Henry makes $12.5 million, and Dalvin Cook makes $12.5 million. And then David Johnson's right above them with 13, and Le'Veon Bell's at 13 as well. So 13.125 actually. So what that means is that's big time. And I'm actually really glad that Dalvin signed this because Dalvin's had some injury issues, right? We know that. And I hope he stays healthy from here on out. And for the Vikings' sake, I'm sure they really hope he stays healthy too. And it looks like it's going to be about $28 million guaranteed right off the bat, which is cool. So they'll have him wrapped up for 6 years, even though it's a 5-year deal, because he has one more year left on his rookie deal. So it's a great deal for the Vikings because they didn't have to shell out that Christian McCaffrey, $16 million, that Zeke Elliott, $15 million, but they got him at 12, and that's a really good running back. So getting him at 12 for that type of running back, if he can stay healthy, which last year he showed that he can, that's a big win for the Vikings there. And now they have him signed up for 6 more years. They've got Adam Thielen. They've got their guy Kirk Cousins. They just traded for Yannick Ngakoue, so the defense is ready to go. They've got Alexander Mattison, who's a good backup running back behind Dalvin Cook. They drafted Justin Jefferson, who was a really good receiver coming out of LSU. This year, he'll be a rookie. They have Irv Smith, the upcoming young tight end that they drafted out of Alabama. They have some good pieces. And every move that they've made this offseason has officially made me happy with my pick of picking them to win the division. And they're going to need to start off this week one big against the Packers, who they have really struggled against as of late. I think they lost to them both times last year. But they need to beat the Packers. They need to beat the Packers at home, and Dalvin Cook should go into this game happy, and he should run wild. He should run buck wild because of what he just did and able to do. So able to get that contract. So that's pretty sweet. Now, the next deal is the Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara got paid big bucks. He just got $15 million a year. He signed a 5-year, $75 million deal with $15 million a year. So that's insane. That is a lot of money. And to be honest, I don't think I would have signed him to that if I was the Saints. Is Alvin Kamara a great player? He's a really good player. A really good player. $15 million a year is up there with Zeke Elliott. Are you telling me he's as good as Zeke? That's $1 million a year less than Christian McCaffrey. Are you telling me he's as good as Christian McCaffrey? Look, he's a great player, right? But the Saints are already $70 million over the cap heading into next year. This year hasn't even started yet, and they're already $70 million over the cap for next year. They are so cap strong, and then they just go out and make this move, and it's just I think that they should have tried to trade him. And he's a great player. He can catch it, he can run it, but for $15 million a year, 5 years, $75 million. That is a lot of running back. That is a lot of money for a running back that, frankly, just we see this happen to running backs. We do. They get these big time money and then they start to fall off. Now, I hope that's not the case for Alvin Kamara. It's risky. It's very, very risky. We'll see what happens from here. But I will like to say this. I'm happy for Kamara. I'm happy for Cook. And I'm happy for the running back class. Guys, the running backs are getting paid. All off season, we were like, man, is the running back market's done. These teams don't want to pay him. And now, so far, we've seen Derrick Henry get paid. We've seen Joe Mixon get paid. We've seen Dalvin Cook get paid. We've seen Kamara, Zeke Elliott, McCaffrey, Le'Veon Bell. All this offseason, we've had McCaffrey, Kamara, Cook, Henry, Mixon all get paid. That is and they get paid big time, $12 million or more for each of them. Melvin Gordon even got a 2-year, $16 million deal, $8 million a year. Kareem Hunt, Austin Eckler, they both got paid. Kareem Hunt just got a big time deal of $6.625 million a year. Like, these players have gotten paid, and I'm happy for the running back market because for the longest time I thought, this is going away. These running backs are starting to. They're not getting paid anymore. No one's paying them anymore. But now they're getting paid, and this is two big signings. Congrats to Kamara. Congrats to Cook. I love the Cook deal. I'm a little bit skeptical on the Kamara deal. We'll see what happens moving forward. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're doing 3 things, actually. Get ready for it. It's going to be a jam-packed fourth quarter. Hold my beer, my best bets, and teams that need a week 1 win because they got to start out hot. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
We are back. This is the GSMC Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. Hope everyone's enjoying the show. tweet at me your thoughts at Kayvon_sports, at Kayvon_sports. Awesome tweets last show when I was reading those off. I was loving it. I got a lot of comments on those, by the way, guys, so really good job. I had a lot of people that know me well text me and reach out to me about how they loved that segment so much and how they thought some of y'all's tweets were just great, and it just felt like it was really entertaining from what I was getting. So I appreciate that from you guys, and keep it up. At Kayvon_sports, the ones that I did not read, I'm sorry. I will get to all of yours if you just keep tweeting, I promise. If I keep getting a good amount like I have been, I'm going to do a segment where I just, every week, just read off tweets and have some fun with it and comment on what you guys are saying and go back and forth like that. So keep that up for sure. Now, what we're going to do, quarter number 4, as always, throw up the quarter number 4, the 4 fingers, throw them up. It's been a good one so far. We are Saturday here, going into Sunday tomorrow. The week 1 slate begins. We just talked about Dalvin Cook re-ing up right before Sunday. Cooper Kupp re-ing up on a deal right before Sunday. Alvin Kamara and the Saints are all in. I mean, they are going to be paying money after money after money for years on years, so they need a Super Bowl to go with it. I don't even have them making the playoffs. We'll see what happens there. Lots of great games. Speaking of New Orleans, right off the bat, got Tampa Bay and the big old Tom Brady and the stacked Buccaneers, one of my picks to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC. Out of the NFC, going to New Orleans week 1. Woo! Fox 425 game. That's going to be a good one. Our 2 games, our Fox games here in North Carolina, our first one is the Panthers. We always get the Panthers that every Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. And then we have Tampa Bay against New Orleans as our 425 game. I don't know what our CBS game is yet, but I'm guessing it's probably like Miami and New England or something like that. That's what we usually get, but we'll see. So a lot of great things going on, a lot of really good games. Now, I want to start with the Hold My Beer segment here. Now, remember, for the Hold My Beer segment, it is really the best storylines that I'll be watching in game 1. Okay, so not the best games. It's just oh my gosh, this is what Kayvon was talking about, but grab my beer, I need to watch this. Or put my beer down, I need to watch this, Put my rosé down, my wine down, whatever it is you drink, your fruity Beaujolais or your margarita, your martini. Hey, I don't hate on whatever you guys want to drink during your games. You have fun and you drink that drink. But when these things come up, you need to put that drink down, or you need to tell your significant other, whoever you're watching the game with, to hold it. Because you got to get ready to cheer. You got to throw your hands up. You got to get in front of the TV screen, bend down like you're playing defense. That's how I get into it. That's how you guys need to get into it too. And these are Kayvon's Hold My Beer moments of the week 1 week heading into tomorrow. The first one, Chase Young. Chase Young, the freak of nature. Coming out of Ohio State, the rookie, one of the best college pass rushers I've ever seen in my life. He officially makes his rookie debut week 1. And guys, I'm telling you, every time he is on the field, you need to tell someone to hold your beer, and you need to stand up and watch this guy. Because he is going to put on a show from day 1. Is there a possibility that Young could set the NFL rookie sack record? It's 14.5. I think Young can beat it. Guys, that offensive line in Washington is nasty. It's so good. It's going to be giving Philadelphia, who has a lot of injuries across the board already on the offensive line, it's going to be giving them problems all day. And because that offensive line is so good, Chase Young is not going to get doubled right away. Every time Chase Young is on the field, you guys and girls need to watch it. Because it's going to be highlights. It's going to be da-na-na, da-na-na. You know what that is? Sports Center top 10 moments, all right? He's going to be giving that out all season long, and he's going to start with it by week 1. And I'm telling you, a lot of people think that Philadelphia is the easiest pick to pick as a winner this week. If you're in a Survivor League, don't do it. I do think Philadelphia is going to win, but I don't know if it's a lock, all right? And I'm telling you, every week 1, someone picks a team that everyone thinks is a for sure thing they're going to win. I think Philadelphia is going to have problems against Washington. I think Carson Wentz will be good enough to get it done, and I really like Philadelphia this year. But Washington is a sneaky team, and they're going to give people problem. With Ron Rivera being their coach and Chase Young being that pass rusher that he is with that defensive line, watch out for Chase Young every time he's on the field. Next one, the Sunday night game. Amari Cooper against Jalen Ramsey. You guys, Jalen Ramsey is going to embarrass Amari Cooper on Sunday night. Jalen Ramsey just got locked up, signed up big time by the Los Angeles Rams. Biggest deal in cornerback history, and he deserved it because that boy can ball. He can ball. I'm telling you, Jalen Ramsey is the best cornerback in the NFL other than Stephon Gilmore, okay? Other than Stephon Gilmore, Jalen Ramsey is the best quarterback in the NFL, and he is going to make Amari Cooper look like a little kid out there. I'm talking 0 catches for 0 yards. Jalen Ramsey will follow him all night long, and Dak Prescott will either be having to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb or Michael Gallup because Amari Cooper will not be open. Every time Jalen Ramsey is on that field against Amari Cooper, put your beer down, tell someone to hold your beer, and get up and watch it because he's going to put on a show. Jalen Ramsey will put on a show against Amari Cooper. Watch out for that. And the next one, I got another wide receiver cornerback matchup. DeAndre Hopkins versus Richard Sherman. That's right. Hopkins is now with the Arizona Cardinals, which means he'll be going up against Richard Sherman, who loves to talk. Boy, does Richard Sherman love to talk. And we're going to see our week 1, the first time them two go at it like that. This won't be a lockdown. I think Hopkins will get the better of Sherman, but this will be a fun battle to watch. Every time Sherman is on Hopkins, have someone hold your beer because this is going to be a fun one to watch. I promise you, they're going to go at it. They're going to talk crap. Hopkins will talk back to Sherman, and it will be on like that all game long, and it will be fun to watch. That's a hold my beer moment, I can guarantee you. Next one, Todd Gurley in a Falcons uniform. Look, this might just be me because I'm biased, but Todd Gurley, I can't wait to see how he plays in a Falcons uniform. He's back in his state of Georgia that he loves to be in, where he went to college. I'm telling you, watch out for Todd Gurley this year. He's playing up against the Seattle team that he's done very well in the past. Todd Gurley's in a Falcons uniform is going to be a good one. And then my last one here, my last hold your beer moment of week 1 is Cam Newton every time he's out on the field. Watch it. He's going up against a Dolphins defense that will be better this year, but it's going to take time. And I am so excited to see what type of plays that the New England Patriots, Josh McDaniels, has come up with for Cam Newton. I'm telling you guys, hold your beer. Have someone hold your beer every time the Patriots offense is on the field because Cam Newton is going to put on a show. Running it, passing it, I don't care. He's going to do it all. And I'm so excited to see how Cam Newton acts, how he gets up from a first down. Does he act like he used to back in Carolina? Does he, showboat and brag? Or is he different? Is he subtle? Is he chill? Is he not getting all up in your face? Which Cam Newton are we going to see? Which football player Cam Newton are we going to see? I cannot wait to see it. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be exciting. And every time Cam Newton is on the field, have someone hold your beer because that's going to be something fun to watch. Those are my Hold Your Beer moments for week 1. This is the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Hope everyone's having a great, great day. Now I want to move on from the Hold Your Beer segment to my week 1 picks of the week. My week 1 picks of the week, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I have 5 picks this week. I will give you guys some picks every week. It's up to you guys if you guys want to go and throw a couple cheddar on it or something like that. Have some fun, be responsible. You know the deal. But it's something fun I like to do with my friends. And the first one I'm going here is the Las Vegas Raiders -3. All right. Las Vegas is traveling across country, I know, to the East Coast to play on Carolina. But I like the Raiders this year. I'm high on the Raiders. And John Gruden, by the way, is one of the best coaches in the NFL when given an extended amount of time to prepare for a game. So with no preseason games, Gruden was able to turn his attention to Carolina since week 1. Since the beginning of training camp. And while I like some of the pieces that the Panthers have on offense, that defensive side of the ball is a mess. It's a mess. They're the first team ever to use all their draft picks on one side of the ball because they have problems on defense. The Panthers allowed a league worst 31 rushing touchdowns last year. 31. And the Raiders have a guy in Josh Jacobs who they love. I see Josh Jacobs having a big, big day running the ball all over the Panthers. And I think Vegas wins their first ever game as the Las Vegas Raiders. Give me the Raiders -3. Next, Seattle Seahawks at Atlanta Falcons. I'm taking the Falcons here. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx my boys, but I'm taking the Falcons here. Look, if you bet on the Seahawks last year, you were very likely on the edge of your seat every game, all right? They won 11 games, and 10 of those wins were by 1 possession, in large part due to Russell Wilson's heroic effort in the fourth quarter every game, all right? That is really hard to repeat. To keep winning games by single digits like that, to keep coming back in the fourth quarter. While the Falcons, they ended last season on a high note, winning their last 4 games, 6 of their last 8. They kept the momentum rolling in the offseason by adding game changers like Todd Gurley and Dante Fowler Jr. Matt Ryan is 6-2 in his career against Seattle with 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, passer rating of 100.1. Look, if you're feeling bold, take the Falcons outright to win it on the money line. But plus 2.5, Falcons are at home. Seattle is coming cross country to Atlanta. I like the Falcons here. Knock on wood. But I like the Falcons here. Next one is the Green Bay Packers at Minnesota Vikings. The total is 45. So that means the over-under is 45. That means combined points. So the score of the Packers, whatever the Packers score and whatever the Vikings score, you put those together, and is it combined 45, more than 45 or less than 45? I'm taking the under. I think that it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think that it's going to be an old-fashioned, both of these teams like to play that old-fashioned, old-school, hard-fought, run the ball and play good defense type of method. The under is 5-1. In the last 6 meetings between these two teams. So the under has hit 5 out of the last 6 times these teams played each other and is a perfect 6-0 in the last 6 meetings in Minnesota. All right, I do think it's noteworthy that there's not any fans in the stands. That could change things. Aaron Rodgers could just dominate because he doesn't have the fans there, but we'll see. I like the under on this. I think it's a hard-nosed, old school game that both of these teams like to do. I think we get a kind of like a 22-20 type game, something like that. Next one, Arizona Cardinals at San Francisco 49ers. Look, most people look at this matchup and immediately want to take the 49ers because of their outstanding play last year, and that's not a bad thought process. I get that. If you're putting your hard-earned money on the line here, you owe it to yourself to dive a little deeper. The Cardinals lost both games to the 49ers last year by a combined 13 points, playing both of those games down to the wire. So they played the 49ers really good. And, the Cardinals finished last season with the 5th best record against the spread. So they covered a lot of games. And Kyler Murray heads into year 2, a popular year as of late for quarterbacks to take off. And lucky for him, he has that shiny new toy in DeAndre Hopkins that can help push that leap forward. Look, this is a rare early season divisional matchup between two teams that know each other very well. And I expect Cardinals to keep it close. I like Arizona +7 on that pick. And then my last one is the Monday night game, the night of the Monday night, the second of the two. Tennessee Titans at Denver Broncos. Look, I like the Titans -3. All right. A large part of this wacky season will have to do with organizational and coaching leadership. I said that. Teams that hold their players accountable will have, inevitably will have success. All right, and Mike Vrabel instantly comes to mind when I think of coaches that demand that sentiment, that coaches that demand accountability. He will have his team ready to go Monday night. Denver made some good moves on offense and definitely appears to be all in on Drew Lock, but I need to see more from him before I jump on that ship. This week, the Broncos lost their defensive asset, their best defensive asset in Von Miller, while the Titans gained theirs in Jadeveon Clowney. Losing a player of value like Von Miller can really put a damper in a young team's mindset. I am not sure that Denver will be ready to go out of the gates like that after that big blow 1 week before the season starts. And they won't have their loyal, really loud fans there to pick them up because there will be no fans in the stands. So give me Mike Vrabel and the Titans. I think they come out, run the ball. I think they play good defense, put a lot of pressure on Drew Lock. I like the Titans -3 here. Those are my best bets. Again, Titans -3, Cardinals +7, under 45 on the Packers-Vikings game, Falcons +2.5, knock on wood, and Raiders -3. All right. Those are my best bets. Now, to end the show, I want to do the teams that are the teams that need a fast start right out of the gate, okay? So teams that need to come for whatever reason, because last year ended bad, because there's already pressure on the coach, because there's pressure on the quarterback, whatever reason, these teams need a fast start right out of the gate. Why? And I'm going to give you guys those teams. There's 1, 2, 3, there's 6 of them. First, the Cleveland Browns. They hire a new coach in Kevin Stefanski. Baker Mayfield didn't have a good year last year. They went all in on talent. There's so much talent. Come on. The Browns need to start off the bat, off this season really hot. And while it's going to be hard with a win against the Baltimore Ravens, they need to play them good. Look, just because I'm saying they need to start hot doesn't mean they have to win. Doesn't mean if these teams go 0-1, they're going to have a terrible season. No, they just need to come out competitive, okay? The Browns need to keep it competitive with the Ravens, show them that they can play in their class. That's what they need to do. Next, Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons ended the season good. They made a lot of good offseason moves, but Dan Quinn is still on the hot seat. Make no mistake about it. Thomas Jermintroff, the GM, is still in the hot seat. They have too many good players to have a bad year this year. They need to come out at home and show that they're ready to be for real this year. That's what they need to do. Even if they lose to Seattle, they need to make it a close game. It cannot be a beatdown. It cannot be a beatdown. The next one, Houston Texans. We just saw them lose to Kansas City. They better step it up. I told you guys their schedule. They cannot come out of the gates 0-3, 0-2, something like that. Now they have Baltimore at home. If they lose to Baltimore, fine. They just lost to two of the best teams in the league. That's whatever. But you cannot get mollywopped by Baltimore like you did against Kansas City. You cannot. You have to keep that a close game. You have to show that you can play better than you did against Kansas City. The next, the Chicago Bears. Look, everyone is under pressure in Chicago because of that Mitchell Trubisky pick. And now they picked Trubisky to play over Foles, which I actually like that pick. I don't think either of them are great quarterbacks, but I think Trubisky has a better upside and can do more with his legs, which scares defenses more. They got to come out playing good. And now they're playing a Lions team that doesn't have their best receiver in Kenny Golladay, who just randomly got on the injury list this week, so he won't be playing. The Bears need to come out and beat the Lions right off the bat. The next, the Dallas Cowboys. Look, there is so much talk all year about the Cowboys. They have all these weapons. Dak Prescott didn't get his big deal. Now he's got to prove it. The Cowboys better come out and beat the Rams Sunday night, okay? They have too much talent. Their O-line is too good. People are picking them for the Super Bowl. They need to come out and put on a show against the Rams on Sunday Night Football and start 1-0. And then the last one is the Las Vegas Raiders. Look, Carolina, I like their offense, okay? But they have a new coach, a new quarterback, and it's been a off-season with a pandemic. So there's been no preseason games. They've barely been able to practice and have serious game-like contact. The Raiders are a team that's been together for a while. Their coach is not new. Their quarterback's not new. This is their third year together. They should come out and beat the Panthers easily. Easily. They should not lose this game at all. This is set up for them to start 1-0 as the Las Vegas Raiders, and I don't see any other reason why they shouldn't. So those are the teams, the Browns, the Falcons, the Texans, the Bears, and the Cowboys, and the Raiders. They all need to step up and have a good week 1 or week 2 showing to show that they're ready to have a good year and they're not ready to have a bad year like last year or whatever is the case. This is the GSMC Football Podcast. Look, thank you so much for listening to the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review. That really helps us as always. Also, if you can, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you. Have a good night. Tweet me y'all's thoughts of the game. All the games this Sunday. Let me know how you guys do. Let me know if you make any bets. Let me know if your team wins. Just tweet at me all weekend. I will respond through Twitter, and then I always will let the fans know and talk about it on Tuesday. Have a great Sunday of watching football, and we will discuss all the games from top to bottom, A to Z, on our Tuesday episode of the GSMC Football Podcast. I am your host, Kayvon. Have a great week 1 of football, everyone.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.